Hello, everybody. I'm Mark.
I'm Rob.
And welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown. Luckily, we're not going to talk about the Knicks until the very end of this video. Because they didn't play last night.
Don't make me put my hat on.
All right. So we're going to talk about, first we're going to talk about Cleveland and Boston. Surprisingly, at least in my mind, Cleveland won last night. I thought they were going to win game 3, and that was it. But they won last night. They played a very good game, and the Celtics didn't play a great game, and they didn't play as good a defense, I think, as they're capable of, and as good as defense they played in the first game. What was your overall take on the game, Rob?
Well, it reminded me of the Miami game that they won that one game in Boston. Cleveland was hot. They hit the 3-pointers. They shot like 46% for the 3-pointers. That definitely helped. And overall, I watched the game. They were just playing well overall, and Boston's defense was very poor. They looked like they didn't want to be there.
Well, that's one way to make it a series. When you, my feeling is, if you're the home team and you're the better team, and you want to make this a short series, you win both the first 2 games at home. Otherwise, you say to the other team, "Hey, you got a chance, and this is going to be a long series," which is going to happen in both these 2 games last night. But anyway, so Mitchell had a big game, of course, with 29 points, and he had 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and he shot well too, 10 for 19 and 5 for 7 from threes. He's playing great. And Mobley had a good game for them, 21 points and 9 for 15 with 10 rebounds. So he had a huge game, really. And so LeVert got him 21 points off the bench. So that seems to be, they also seemed to play better defense than the Knicks last night. And that's why they won by 24 points. They won by 24 last night.
The way Cleveland wins, Donovan Mitchell's going to get his points. But the way they win their games is if the other guard, Garland, if he plays well, which he did, and if Mobley, like he plays, if he can play like this almost every game, and then their bench, LeVert's a good, nice guard coming in too. If those 3 play well alongside with Mitchell, then Cleveland usually has a chance.
And they shot 13 for 28 in threes, which gave them 46.4%. And then the Celtics only shot 22.9%, 8 for 35. Yeah, Tatum had a rather average game. He needs to come up big. He's the star player. He had 25 points, but he had like 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He didn't have a bad game at all. He had an average game, but Jaylen Brown, was 0 for 6 from threes. And Derek White cooled off completely, and he's like their number 3 scorer, and he only got 10 points, and he was 1 for 8 from threes. So it seems like Jaylen Brown and Derek White's 3-point shooting is kind of what cost him.
Well, I think with Tatum also. Tatum, he's got to come up with it. He hasn't been playing that well in the playoffs. Brown actually has been playing better than he has, and he's got to step it up a little bit more. So I think that hopefully he will later for their sake. I'm pretty sure he will, but he's got to step it up a little bit more. He's not playing that well. I mean, like you said, he's playing. I can say he's not playing well. He scored 25 points, but I mean, in Tatum's numbers, he's a really awesome basketball player. So
you can blame my namesake Sam Hauser. My last name's Hauser, by the way, a little bit because he only get 2 points, but they only gave him 9 minutes. He usually gets like seventh most amount of minutes. He only got the 9th most of minutes.
Well, he wasn't playing defense. He wasn't producing. So usually they have Pritchard. He comes in. He played 20 minutes. He's a 3-point shooter too, but he didn't really make 3-pointers. He only 1 for 4 last night also. So they just didn't shoot well and play defense well. That happens, I guess.
They're going to have to win game 3 to get control of the series, because if they lose game 3, now they got game 4, which is an away game. So I'm saying the same thing for OKC, which we'll discuss now. I guess if you're done with the Knicks, you're done with the Celtics-Cavaliers game.
I know you get the Knicks in the mind. I know you do.
We'll get to the Knicks because we'll preview tonight's games. We got 2 games tonight, obviously, because there's 4 games going on. And surprisingly, not because Dallas isn't a good team, but because Doncic is injured. And who knows, 2 days later, things stiffen up. I thought he was going to be more injured. I think, and he hasn't played well. Like, he shot very poorly 2 games in a row. But last night he was fantastic. I watched the entire game, and he was unbelievable. I mean, he's never unbelievable on defense, but offensively, he was fantastic. He's 5 from 8 for threes, 11 for 21. He scored 29 points. He had 10 rebounds, 7 assists, but he played defense last night more than he normally does. He had 3 steals and a block. So he played great. He was unbelievable. And no one else played defense? Irving, who's perfectly capable of playing great defense, and he played defense yesterday. He had 2 steals and 2 blocks, but he was on his man for once. And he didn't shoot well, but he had 11 assists, and 2 of them were like great. So I was impressed with Irving and P.J. Washington, who poured in 29 points. Wow.
Yeah, he hit his threes. He was hitting threes. I mean, he couldn't miss his 3-pointers. That's why. I mean, from the corner, from the side, he was just hitting 3-pointers all over the place.
I will say I don't think OKC played as good a defense as they did in the first game.
No, well, obviously because they lost. So
no, well, you can lose a game and still play. It could be your offense could be terrible, but I don't think they play as good a defense. That's why Dallas scored 119 points. And their 3-point shooting was they weren't covering them very well because they shot 48.6%. They were 18 for 37, which is a trend in many games in the NBA now. Whoever shoots better threes wins because OKC was 10 for 30 with 33 points.
Well, I don't think you're going to get the same thing again from P.J. Washington. He was unbelievable hitting the 3-pointers and scoring. So that's what most of his points came from. So I don't think that's going to happen again.
No, but they did make the series interesting regardless of what happens. Like I said, I had them in 6. After the first game, I was thinking I had OKC in 6, just to be clear. After the first game, I thought, it's probably going to only be 5 because Doncic seems injured to me. But now, maybe 6 is be right. Who knows? It could be 5, 6, or 7. Dallas could win for all I know, but it's 1-1. Holmgren was 1 for 6 from threes yesterday. He was kind of off. He had 6 rebounds and 6 assists, though. SGA, of course, played well again. He's playing great. He scored 33 points. He was 13 for 24, and free throw points, he was 1 for 3. And he also had 12 rebounds and 8 assists. He was really unbelievable in the loss.
Yeah. He played a good game. I mean, he had some tough shots, forced some shots up, but he still, he played how he usually plays.
I just think it was defense not as good, and also Holmgren didn't play as well, and everybody else kind of played mediocre. Jalen Williams did get 20 points. Someone say he played poorly. So he did get 20 points for them. But, they certainly gave Dallas some confidence, so we'll see what happens when they play again. And, like I said, same thing in the last series. I think you need to win game 3 after you, so that otherwise you're down 2-1 with Dallas having another home game left. So to get
they have a lot of, with Irving only scoring not that many points, but playing good defense, and they still won. That's kind of, maybe they got that confidence now saying, hey, we can do this.
Well, if you're going to ask me how I think they're going to win, I think Boston and OKC are going to bounce back and win game 3.
Well, we picked Dallas the Dallas Oklahoma game. I think we said 6. I had the Celtics sweeping the Cavs.
I had them in 5, so I don't know if I'm still going to be right now, but I had them like my prediction was they were going to win game 3. So we'll see. Now I don't think they're going to win game 3 because they won game 2, but we'll see what happens. So tonight is you're near. You got to get your hat on, Rob, or New York Knicks.
I'm not going to wear it till they win tomorrow. Till tomorrow, I'll put it on.
Rob, I am concerned for them this game. I didn't think they were going to sweep anyways, but I thought they're going to lose this game even if they're healthy. But you don't know how injured Brunson's going to be with his ankle or foot. His foot it stiffens up, and your forward that pulled his hamstring. You want to pronounce his name for me again, Rob?
Ananabi.
Yes, he's not playing, and so
he's out.
Supposedly Brunson is doubtful or questionable. Who cares? He's going to play. He's out there. They already have problems with the rotation, and they won't have the additional players of the refs to fill out the rotations for 8, 9.
Throw the refs away. The refs doesn't matter with the refs anymore. You got that's an old line. You got to get rid of that. The refs doesn't matter.
But still, they're going to be short now because they have 3 people out right from the right before the playoffs are set near the end of the season. They've lost Randall Robinson and the hamstring injury from the player I can't pronounce his name. So they're gonna have trouble. I think they're gonna be tired by the fourth quarter. I don't know. Well, I hope Thibodeau increases minutes to some other players so they don't get.
Well, you haven't watched. If you've watched the Knicks, which you haven't the whole year, they had the same situation where Brunson was out, Randall was out, and they started that with McBride, and they still ended up playing well. So yeah, I'm concerned, of course, but I think luckily Brunson's in there, and they're gonna put Precious in there who can do a nice job. Because to me, Indiana's defense is not very good. If they don't, so if they don't win this game at home for Indiana, they might as well, so it's over. It's
Oh,
definitely
of course. But I think they will. And I don't think because I don't think the Knicks are healthy. But
yeah.
uh,
But I like but I'm not a math major, but like you are. But the Knicks only have to win 2 games, and Indiana has to win 4. So I think the Knicks have a better chance of winning the series.
well, I predict them in 5. So we'll see what happens. All right. So Denver is playing Minnesota. We all know that Denver's down.
Well, you picked them in 6, not 5. I did the 5. You did the 6.
No, I picked them in.
I say ain't no jive.
Oh no! Right. Yeah, I picked Indiana, New York in 6. In the other one, I picked in Boston, Cleveland. I picked in 5. Right. I picked them in 6. So well, that's good because they won last night. They're more likely to go 6 games. But anyways, Denver, Minnesota. I predicted Denver in 7, but it certainly looks like I'm going to be wrong on that. I don't think that Jamal Murray is healthy. Well, he's not healthy, and I don't know how much of a difference that made because Minnesota's defense was so good. I don't want to make excuses and take away from Minnesota's defense.
So how do you think Denver can come back? This is definitely. I mean,
pride. And solving the defensive swarming that they're doing, which I said looks like a press half the time. With the traps and everything, they need to solve that, and I'm sure they're working on that because I don't think they played them 4 times during the regular season, but I don't think it was intense, and Jamal Murray wasn't injured, so it makes him less mobile to overcome the press and the double team. But they need to figure out a way to handle the defense.
Well, that ball movement helps a lot. I mean, when they're coming up on you, which they have long arms, you got to move the ball. You can't. It's amazing. It's still even at this level where the player will dribble right into where the trap spots are. You're supposed to get the ball in the middle of the court and bring somebody up. Have Jokic come up and either set a pick or come up in the middle. It's like almost like to break a zone. Once you get him in the middle, it's like a 3-on-2 situation. So they have a better percentage of beating that defense.
I think Denver will pull off a win here, just because I think they're due to have a good game. That no other reason than that. We'll find out what happens. I think Minnesota's not going to lose 2 games at home, so I think they're going to be up 3-1 at the end of this. But let's I guess I'll predict Denver to win. Caitlin Clark had her 2nd preseason game, and she played mediocre. She shot 2 for 9 from 3 and scored 12 points, but had 8 rebounds, which is a lot considering they got a good front court. And she had 6 assists, but also had 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
And I don't think the players are ready for her passes all the time. Even Alyssa Smith said that. She goes, I looked up, I didn't realize I should be ready for that when she's thrown the length of the court. So I'm less concerned about that because they can work that out with practices and games. By midseason, they should have that down. Her turnovers will go down, her assists will go up. And
they still have the 2 young, like I said, they still have 2 great ball players too. Inside, a nice 6'4" woman in there, and she's no slouch. So I think, like I said, it's preseason and it's only 2 games. I think they'll make the playoffs, and Caitlin Clark will be fine.
I predicted them to make the playoffs. I can't imagine that not happening, but that's they only got to win 6 more games about 6 more games. 5 more games would have put them in the playoffs last year.
Do you think this is great? This is really, I don't know. This is really great for the WNBA because I mean now teams usually if you play a mediocre team and when if you're Liberty or Las Vegas, you'd be like, oh well, we're going to beat this team. But now with Caitlin Clark and the Fever coming up, they're going to have more incentive as they're going to hey. I mean, they're all every team I'm sure is circling that day they play the Fever. So
I will say because they're going to be trying harder against Clark for obvious reasons, because they're jealous of all the publicity and all that stuff. But I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem getting motivated to.
It's going to step up the level.
As long as it's clean play, I don't have a problem with that. But you're right. I do think it's going to be more difficult for them because the teams are going to be a little bit more motivated against Fever and Clark. But you know what? You just got to go out there and.
But I think it's good because it builds up the competition and makes the league more. People want to watch it. They want to watch more. And it brings a level of play up and brings a level of consistency of how people want to watch the game. So I think that's a good thing.
It is. And Melissa Smith, who you mentioned, is 6'4", and she had a good game yesterday. Just so that we don't just talk about Clark, because she was a second pick in the draft. I guess it would be like 2 years ago, and she's a good player, and she had a good game. She had 21 points and 6 rebounds, and was 9 for 16, 2 for 4 from the 3-point. She can actually shoot the three. And Aaliyah Boston had 11 points. She didn't score a lot of points in either of the preseason games, but she's a very good player. As you know, she was Rookie of the Year and All-Star last year. I'm sure she'll pick up. But I will point out they won the game without their 2 starting guards from last year. Mitchell has a left ankle injury, and Wheeler did not play because of illness for some reason. So she was their starting point guard last year. And like I said, they're probably going to have a 3-guard rotation with Clark and the 2 of them. But they played with neither of their starting guards last year, and they still won the preseason game. So that's a good sign. Yeah. They're going to have depth at guard because of Clark, so that's great. So that's good sign. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. The 14th is their first game, so of course we'll have a video on the 15th for the game. I am curious to see what her ratings are, and what the ratings for Angel Reese's first regular season game, because supposedly they got 2 million views when they streamed her game. They said those aren't reliable stats when it's streamed like that, so I think it's a little hard to believe. But who knows? We'll find out how accurate those numbers are when she has her first regular season game, and when Clark gets up there a day apart.
Do you think it's going to be a rivalry like Magic and the Bird with her and Reese and Clark?
Well, if Reese becomes good enough, she could become good enough. I'm not going to discount her. I just don't think she progressed from her last year to next year in college. Her numbers went down. She went from first team All-American to second team All-American. And she also have Camila Cardoza, and they're going to be like in the front court together. So their numbers may be taken away from each other in that sense.
Well, Cardoza's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with her shoulder injury. She's injured.
I'm saying, like, in general, their numbers will be a little lower because they both are going to be 2 big, tall women. I'll say 2 tall women, and so their numbers, like I said, she may have fewer numbers because of the 2 of them. Cardoza is going to get a lot of rebounds. So we'll see what happens. I'm not discounting. I think she has talent, even though I'm not a big fan of her personality. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when if they do. It'd be nice if she did, because that really sets apart the NBA. Was, it was definitely because they were black and white. It was definitely part of that. They played 2 different positions. Also because they played in the college finals. And these 2 played in the college finals too, and then they played again the following year in the quarterfinals. So we'll see. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. The WNBA needs something like that. They need something.
Yeah, I mean, Caitlin Clark. They're already moving most of Caitlin Clark's games in the way arenas are already moving to bigger ventures because of her.
That's unbelievable, and to think that this isn't about her, it's ridiculous.
Right.
36 out of 40 of her games are going to be televised. So. We'll see what happens. So Angel Reese has her fans, so we'll find out how she plays. We'll find out how high her TV viewership is and how many seats she sells when she plays in arenas or at home. And you guys,
they're probably jealous of that too. They're probably jealous of that she's going to get more viewerships, and not the other girls. Or I'm sorry, excuse me, women. It's like, oh man, it's just going to keep on. It's never going to stop.
Okay. So anyway, the game is the 14th is Caitlin Clark's first game, and Angel Reese's first game is the 15th. So you don't think we short sight her? And we'll review that after it happens, and enjoy the games tonight. And we'll have another video tomorrow, whether the Knicks win or lose. I'm going to make Rob do a video whether the Knicks win or lose.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm already reserved. I mean, with the injuries, I'm not going to be surprised if they lose tonight. But like I said, they have a better percentage of. I'm not too upset because they only have to win 2 games, and that's it. And I don't see Indiana's winning 4 straight games. The way their defense is.
Okay, sorry. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so it'll notify you for all the future videos. We have about 60 videos. At least more than half of them are shorts. So if you have short attention span because you're used to being on your phone for 1 minute at a time, or you're just used to watching shorts, we have a lot of those for you. And then we have some longer ones. They're usually between 10 and 20 minutes long. And so please check them out and make some comments. They're more than welcome, as long as they're not, stupid comments or insulting comments. Intelligent comments are always warranted, are always wanted. And, like and subscribe, please. And tell your family and friends.
All right. Peace out.
Peace out.